debates and decisions that are shaping our continent now in Europeans.
Of every land, of every tongue.
This was just before a referendum on whether to support independence. Should self-proclaimed South Ossetia break free from Georgia? On the 12th of November, at the same time as re-electing their president, the South Ossetians overwhelmingly voted yes to go their separate way. It wasn't the first time, and yet the international community does not endorse the referendum result.
We are already independent, but we aren't recognized internationally. We want recognition, that's it. That way, we'll be more secure and we'll be safe from the threats and hostility of the Georgian Republic.
Aggression is a recurrent theme in the South Ossetians' main city, Tbilisi. The separatists fought against the Georgians in 1991 and 92. The Georgian army encroached in 2004 and more blood was shed. The Ossetians count on protection by Russia.
First, we want our independence. After that, we want to be part of Russia, but never part of Georgia. We've had enough of them. We've had many victims here because of them. It's enough.
There's a North Ossetia too, which is part of the Federation of Russia. A lot of the southerners also want to be attached.
The Ossetians of the south and the north are one and the same people. We were artificially separated during Soviet times. We must reunite again. As in the case of Germany, two states reunified peacefully. I want that.
South Ossetia today is on a drip feed from Russia. It uses the ruble currency and a large majority of the people have Russian passports. The presence of the EuroNews team in the streets of Tbilisi causes a stir. The Georgian interpreter isn't welcome. Our Ossetian minder feels awkward about it. More than 3,000 kilometers east of Brussels, the region is crossed by oil and gas pipelines and an important trade route. The 1992 armed conflict ended with the deployment of Russian soldiers. A joint peacekeeping force, including Russians, Georgians, and North and South Ossetians, plus a committee to negotiate solutions, were set up. An economic program supervised by the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE, is supposed to help. The main financial contributors are the US and the EU. We see none of this at work here. The OSCE cancelled a visit which had been arranged to the conflict zone. The reason given was that there had to be joint control commission representatives from all sides, and coordination of this came undone at the last minute. But we did meet the Ossetians delegate.
I've always been convinced that the economic rehabilitation of the conflict zone could help a lot to improve trust between both sides in the South Ossetia-Georgia conflict. Unfortunately, I wouldn't go as far as to say the international community brings direct financial support. But certain Western countries support the development of Georgia's military arsenal. That is the problem. That is where the international community is in error.
Faced with accusations it has warlike intentions, Georgia in its turn accuses the Russian force here of giving the local population weapons. Clashes happen regularly. You can feel the tension in Tbilisi. The second time we are stopped, the soldiers suspect us of being spies. They make us stop filming and leave. A few kilometers away, the only village in South Ossetia we are allowed into, Eredvi, is a Georgian enclave. The region has around 70,000 inhabitants, about a third of them Georgians. We are told several mixed families live here. This is where alternative elections were organized for the 12th of November in opposition to the regime in Tbilisi. South Ossetia's Georgians also want independence, this family tells us, but they want it in federation with Georgia.
Our generation has lived through a time when Ossetians and Georgians got on well. We hope things will get better. But the youth of Ossetia, who grew up apart from the Georgians, have been conditioned by their government, who set them against us. The most important thing would be to have a mixed government in South Ossetia of Georgians and Ossetians, also in Georgia. A mixed regional government so our common problems can be sorted out together.
Allowing regional autonomy is as far as the Georgian government's position goes. Before any settlement, it insists on the removal of all Russian troops stationed in separatist territory. The Georgian Prime Minister says it is a haven for all kinds of smugglers.
There is only one solution, the peaceful solution. But in order for us to get into the negotiation over the status, we need to, first of all, demilitarize the region, to build up the confidence between the sides. And we need to establish basic law and order, as I have said again, and to rehabilitate the infrastructure of the region, and then to create some jobs in the region for us to be able to negotiate the status.
This is the town of Gori, the place where Stalin was born. It is the Georgian city closest to Tbilisi, the Ossetian de facto capital. A lot of Ossetia's Georgians came here when they fled the fighting in 1992, while thousands of Ossetians moved to Russia. This former hotel is housing for displaced families now. It's where we meet Nino and Dato. The grandmother was originally Russian. She settled in Tbilisi when she married a Georgian more than 40 years ago. Neither she nor her daughter Irina want anything to do with joining Russia, any more than they want autonomy within Georgia. They say the integration has to be total.
Otherwise, I'm worried that if we go back in a few years' time, or when I'm no longer alive, the same thing might happen to my children as has happened to us, that they would also have to leave their homes. We don't want to live inside the boundaries of Russia. South Ossetia is in Georgia. We have no other hope but with the European Union. We really are against war. We've seen death, we've seen blood, we've seen it all. We don't want any more of that. So yes, we really have hope in Europe. Maybe it can pressure Russia. These things have to be said out loud. Maybe this will finally make Russia see reason.
The European Union and the United States have opted in favor of the present internationally recognized borders of Georgia. Russia says the separatists' voice must be heard. Between the lines lie the small territory's strategic and economic interest.